Welcome back to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results. And we have
Dawn Eldridge with Remax Results.
Jason Light, Envoy Mortgage, is here, and Wes and Paul from Durand Repair and Restoration are here talking about fireplace safety, amongst other things. And we've learned a lot about watching out for scams. So if someone comes to your house and you have your fireplace swept or cleaned, and they say, oh boy, we got issues. Doesn't mean you don't have issues or you have an issue or not. But that's when you get a second opinion, when the bill starts to rack up and it adds up to thousands and thousands of dollars. You might want to just take a second or take some time, call someone else, call Wes, call Paul, and get a second opinion and see if there's a fix that can be done that's just as good but for a lot less, or if it's truly needed, or if it's an exaggeration or taking advantage of a situation. We see this a lot with, I see it with radon a lot too, frankly, that the timing of the radon mitigation systems and the testing and all that, you see some of that where it's being overused to the advantage of the company to put in a more expensive system when there may be another way that could be done for less. So Dawn, myself, Jason, Josh, we're in the industry. We know a lot of professionals that will be able to give you second opinions or first opinions on that are honest and accurate and true about what's going on. It doesn't mean that it's going to always be less than what you thought it would be, but you're at least getting an honest, accurate evaluation of what's going on. So I want to know, we've told some stories, kind of scary stories about how starting on fire and stuff like that, but what are some funny or some cool finds that you've found in dealing with fireplaces? Because Wes, Paul, you guys know a ton. Sounds like about different types of fireplaces, all the internal workings and all that stuff. But when you go to work on jobs, I saw on the news, I think it was on the news or it was online on Facebook, I don't remember, but a guy, I think it was in England, had written a letter to Santa Claus when he was 7, and it was over, I think it was 70 years ago or something like that. It was 70 or 80 years ago, and someone was, people had bought the old house that he was in, they were renovating, they were doing something, and I think it was, and they were doing something with the fireplace, and they found this perfect condition letter to Santa, and from him, and then they found him, he's still alive, and then they went over and he got on the news and he talked about the letter and read it. It was actually pretty cool what he wrote on there and everything like that. But do you guys, and it reminded me of Christmas Vacation. I watched that the other night where Clark is up in the attic and he hides his presents up there right next to the fireplace, right next to the flue or the fireplace, and he found an old present from who knows when for his wife in the movie. So that got me thinking about it. But what are some other cool stuff that you see or hear about, or when you're out in the field with fireplaces?
I wish I could say that we found something that cool. Not a chance. We usually
no letters.
No letters. No bundles of old government bonds.
No gold coins.
I got nothing.
No nothing.
I'll tell you what I do have is usually. So if you know how a chimney's built, I won't get into all that because again, I could be over inundating people with all that information. But there's an air gap that's between the flues. So basically, when you take a cap off, it's an empty hole all the way down to the smoke shelf. If nobody's, of course, stuffed anything in underneath the cap and filled it up. So when we do rebuilds, oftentimes we'll find the masons that may have built it or rebuilt the chimney, if it's been rebuilt once before, elected to stuff their garbage down in there, which is fun. And usually that consists of beer cans.
Cans?
Yeah, we've torn off a lot of chimneys over by the countryside area in Edina. We just, there just happens to be, we just do a lot of work. Not to say that we don't do any work down south of the river, and we're all over the place. But the majority of our work, we're going to work in those older neighborhoods in Edina, St. Louis Park, Southwest Minneapolis. So it'd be really cool if we found that. Live animals. I've had a couple of flying squirrels.
Nice.
Take some pretty aggressive runs at my face. I don't do snakes. Don't care for snakes. They're not my thing. Now, Paul, we've both agreed that we're not snake people. Again, maybe there are snake people out there, and kudos to you, but it's just not my cup of tea. And I really don't like it when we open a chimney cap and find snakes in there. And you say, well, Jesus, how is that even happening? Well, it does. Not very often, but it does. They can get in through the foundation, kind of where the chimney.
So where are they at?
Up in the
fireplace or at the bottom?
They can be in both places.
Now you get them scared of snakes.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not a snake guy either.
No. Yeah. Okay. It just
my wife sure as heck isn't.
So they can, if you got holes around the foundation, that where the block, because when you're putting a wood burning fireplace and when you're building the home, it's sitting on a footing. It's sitting on the foundation that's pinned into the foundation of the house. And it's part of the blueprint. It's part of the plan, okay? Yeah. And not to say you can't add them after, but that gets pretty spendy, and it's not very often that happens. So they can get in through foundation hole, and believe it or not, they can also get in from, we know we have, especially where I live in West Bloomington, where Paul lives, we are, both of our homes and our shop are very close to, like right between, we're about a mile apart from where we live. Makes it convenient for us in the mornings, but the point being is that we live off of 9 Mile Creek. There's a park reserve there.
Yes.
There's a big marshland right by Highland there in Bloomington. And we all know we have birds of prey out there. Hawks, we've got all kinds of eagles, all kinds of fun stuff. And we also know that they like to eat snakes sometimes. So if you've got no weather guard on top of your flue liner, do you think, I mean, you can forget a 3-pointer from downtown. This is like, they might as well give the eagle 6 points for it, but he's upset he lost the meal. But all of a sudden the snake slips out of his claws, and is it potentially possible for that to drop down an open flue liner? Yep, it is.
Wow. That would be cool. Not cool, but that would be
Have
cool.
I ever physically seen it happen? No, but it does. It can. Yeah. So, that's why people put weather guards up there to keep animals.
Well, and the animals, squirrels and whatever else. That's what bats. Bats and all that stuff. And my own house, I think I have rainwater coming in it, but I'll have you guys check that out and tell me for sure if that's the case. But I have a side note here, so and you guys can maybe tell me where this is from. So I do a little safety game with the kids at night when we go to bed. I say, got to be safe, because if they're like running around, tripping or pushing each other, or someone's going to fall or break something, they're jumping around the bed and all that stuff. So I call it Safety First Sam, but it stems from a Jim Carrey role that he played. So let's see if I can do it here. Hold on. Hello, Asher and Victoria. It's Safety First Sam. Let me tell you something. Folks. If you are going to start a fire, you got to call Wes and Paul first. This is Safety First Sam. Okay, guys, where's that from? Who's that?
Oh, gosh.
Let me tell you something, folks.
This is a Jim Carrey movie?
No, this is one from a show that he did back in the day.
In Living Color?
Yes. Who was he?
See, that I didn't think there'd be a follow-up.
Fire Marshal Bill. That's it. Fire Marshal. Remember that? Yeah. It was hilarious. So if you guys want to have something to do, if you have a couple minutes to spare, go online and Google Fire Marshal Bill, Jim Carrey. Absolutely hilarious, because he gives over-the-top examples, and he's just hilarious. So this could play in with you guys as far as starting fireplaces in your chimney. Just be careful first on it, because bad things can happen, but also make sure that you get a chimney sweep when you buy a home, when you inspect the home, or after. If you neglected to, like me and Dawn, we were both realtors and we both neglected to, unfortunately. But you got to get one at some point if you want to have a fire in your home if you have an older home. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys, at least the information that you guys provided for everybody. Any other tips? I like to have people have takeaways or stuff that they should do or know about in regards to anything else. Chimney, exterior. You guys doing exterior stuff as well, interior?
Yep, both.
Obviously, if you see stuff falling on the outside or bricks falling and stuff like that,
I think there's a couple of just basic things. First of all, it depends on how your home's positioned on its lot and the weather it's exposed to. But here's kind of the general rule of thumb for outside maintenance. Number one is there are different types of brick and brick density. So in Edina, for example, Southwest Minneapolis, these areas, use Chicago brick. Okay, it's very common, it's very there, but it's also very porous. And that brick is going to shale away and it's going to crumble at a higher rate exposed to weather than a more dense clay brick will. Okay, so there's that type of thing. But number one is if you see brick debris on your roof line, okay,
Yes.
which is pretty
Which I
common,
have on mine.
you start to so you start to see it, and you think in the spring, no big deal. No, that's okay. We'll let it go. The problem with that is that it goes exponentially because a chimney's sitting up exposed to all the elements, and we're talking about all four sides that are exposed to wind, rain, snow. And then, of course, if you're using your fireplace and the snow is sitting up on top of there, it's going to have pretty drastic freeze and thaw cycles that the cap's going to go through.
Yes.
Makes sense? So then a little hairline crack will start to get created around the flue liner. That doesn't happen with ours because we wrap our flue liners with a product called FF foam and then caulk it. So just watch that and understand if you start to see that damage on the outside, it could get away from you exponentially.
I have that damage on my chimney. It's paint. My chimney's painted white.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I go in the backyard and I look on my roof and I see white. It crumbles all the time
Yeah.
around. I got it. So you guys got to come out and check
Yeah,
mine
obviously.
out for sure. We'll be back with more. Be safe, folks. We'll be back with more. Call Paul, call Wes for a chimney sweep.